Today we are checking out the new Fujifilm X-E4, and I've had it here paired with the new 27mm, the f2.8 27mm lens, which is a very nice setup. You can see here it's incredibly small. What you can't see, although you'll just have to take my word for it, is how unbelievably lightweight this is. We talk about lightweight systems, but this is ridiculously light. You definitely don't need a dedicated camera bag for this. This will fit in any bag. It'll probably fit in your pocket, to be honest, but it feels pretty much tailor-made for everyday use, you know, going out and about, taking it with you wherever you go on the off chance you want to use it. It feels perfectly made for someone who wants to get into photography with a decent camera, maybe stepping up from, you know, a phone or even a kind of a first camera. This is kind of a step up from that because you get some really nice image quality. We'll come onto that in a bit as well. But this is an interesting camera. Let's start off by talking about the images because, you know, I think that's a good place to start with any camera. Then we're gonna come on to, you know, the feel of this and all that kind of stuff. Let's just get into it. So image quality wise, there's a 26.1 megapixel sensor in here. It's the same sensor we've seen in the X-T4, which is crazy to me. You know, that means that at this kind of price, you're getting really nice image quality here. It's decent for low light. You know, 26.1 megapixels gives you a little bit of room to crop in post if you want to, but you're getting a lot of detail in those shots. Of course, you've got the Fujifilm colors as well, which look, they always look so good. It really is a pleasure to actually take photos with a Fujifilm because of those colors. And of course, you've got the film simulations as well in there. So you've got some nice kind of creative ways to take photo. And it means that if, you know, this is for someone who's not so proficient with editing their photos, or they don't want to get into that, they just want to go out and take some photos, you've got some really nice ways to change up the look of your photos just in the camera, which I think is great, especially on a camera at this kind of price. The autofocus is also very similar to the X-T4. It works really well. I never had any issues with it, whether I was doing landscape, kind of portrait stuff, whatever I was doing, it works well. Now, while we're talking about image quality, we should mention video as well. This does have some decent video spec in there, 4K up to 30 frames a second, which is decent, and full HD up to 240 frames a second. So you can get really slow motion, nice and smooth if you want to. And then all of that kind of plays into this feeling in my mind that this is just a great travel camera because it's so small and lightweight and easy to take around, but with decent spec for photo and video. So no matter what you're doing, you know, you're gonna be able to capture some decent stuff. It's a good looking camera as well. You know, it reminds me a lot of the X100 series of cameras, you know, so it's a handsome bit of kit. I've got it here in black. If I'm honest, I much prefer the silver version. I think that looks really, really good. But again, I think Fujifilm have designed this to be a very kind of aesthetically pleasing bit of kit, perfect for someone to kind of just have in their bag and take out. It looks good and it takes good photos and video and stuff like that. Like I say, it's very lightweight, but we've got some nice stuff on here as well. We've got kind of a minimalist design in terms of controls and buttons. So on the back, we've got the little joystick and then a couple of little buttons there around the actual screen. We've got on the top a shutter speed dial, which is nice. And then of course the exposure compensation dial as well, which is very nice next to the shutter. The actual screen itself is decent. It's a tilting screen, so you can actually tilt it all the way up to be able to do kind of a selfie mode or be able to do vlogging or anything like that. I think that's really good. I think that's decent. You know, it's nothing to particularly write home about, but it absolutely serves the purpose that it needs to serve. The EVF is nice as well. It's kind of offset to the left of the camera. Now that's nice. I'll take my glass off for this bit. That's nice because, you know, it means that when you're using it, your nose isn't pressed up against the camera. I think it works better than it being in the center. It also means you can use your other eye if you want to as well. So I think that works really well. It's not the best EVF I've ever used. It's 2.3 million dots, I think, which, you know, it's not the greatest resolution, but it kind of does the job, you know? And for this kind of price point, I think it's absolutely fine. Now, I've mentioned a bunch of times that this is small and lightweight. Personally, for me, this is probably a little bit small in my hands. I don't think it's probably designed for someone like me, to be honest. There's no grip there. So for me personally, that wasn't the most comfortable. But it does mean that it has a smaller form factor. It doesn't take up as much room. And if you just want to have this as an everyday camera, you're not out there, you know, hiking to get the perfect sunrise shot or something like that, I think this is fine. I think this is absolutely fine. I think it's a nice kind of, I hesitate to say it. I almost don't want to say it, but it's quite a nice fashion accessory as well. You know, it's a good camera, but it looks good. You know, it looks good in the hand. If I saw someone using this, I'd think, oh, nice camera. We've got some decent connections in here. We've got a 3.5mm jack for a microphone. So if you did want to use this for vlogging, you absolutely could. We've got a micro HDMI port in there as well, which to be honest, is actually quite decent for a camera like this. And we've got a USB-C port in there as well for connections. Now, one thing I should mention, it does just have the one card slot. I don't think that's a major surprise for a camera like this. It's just UHS 1 as well, so not the fastest cards, but it does just have the one single card slot, so that's worth just being aware of. Like I say, for the kind of person who I think this is aimed at, I really don't think that's a problem. I really don't think that's even a consideration, but it is worth being aware of. Now, something that makes this camera interesting and kind of appealing to a lot of people, I would imagine, is the fact that even with the 27mm lens, this is under £1,000. You can check the full price in the link in the description if you'd like as well. But I think that makes this perfect for someone who wants to, get into photography, but get a good camera. Step up from either a first camera or a phone or something like that. I think that makes this a great option for that kind of thing. And of course, you've got the added benefit that this is an interchangeable lens camera. So you're not stuck with, in this case, the 27mm. Lovely lens, but if you want to switch things up and get a different, maybe a zoom lens or anything like that, you absolutely can. So you can kind of expand on this as well. Now, does it have some drawbacks? Yes, absolutely. But to be honest, at this kind of price point, it can't have everything in there. It's not designed to have everything in there. It's designed to be small, look good, lightweight, easy to use. The kind of camera you just literally pop in your bag when you're going out the door and take it just in case, It's not designed to be super high level pro camera. So it'd be unfair, to be honest, to judge it against that kind of thing. I think for what it is and what it's designed to be, this has some great capabilities and some really good stuff in there for kind of, beginner to even to intermediate photographer. I think there's a lot of stuff to appreciate in here. You could get this as a kind of beginner photographer who wants to get more into it, and then stick with this camera for a long time because it's good enough to take you through, years. You're not gonna hit the wall of what this can do anytime soon. Now, if you have any questions, of course, pop them down in the comments. There's a link to see the full spec, everything about this camera down in the description as well, so go and check it out for yourself. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and of course, subscribe. We've got new reviews, tutorials, all that kind of stuff all the time. I will see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.